Right guys and girls, Mark Crossfield here today. I'm talking about striking the ball better with your iron predominantly. A bit of equipment you'll need today apart from your golf club and you is some variation of heights in golf tees. Now when it comes to playing better golf, hopefully we understand the more consistent and accurate you are with where you strike the ball on the face. So making some level of consistency in your contact will help you lower your scores. Now, you can think about swing changes to improve your contact, and that's all valid, but what I want you to think about today is, have you got the skills, or are you even practicing the skills to improve where you strike the ball on the face? Let's show you what I mean. Let's get stuck in. So let's just take it as a given that everyone watching this video swings the club in their unique way, and even though where we try to make swing improvements which can really benefit strike and other factors, what we also need to be able to do is strike the ball from different situations and challenge your idea of making sure you're aware that each swing is actually slightly different when you get out on the golf course. So if I hit a few standard shots here just from a very neutral, dry setting, you know, everything's flat, there's no conditions, I don't really mind if I miss the target because I've just got a simulated range in front of me. I'm on a perfect lie, so as good as these mats are, they don't really recreate what grass, the kind of intricacies of the different lies you get on very different grass lies. What I'm going to notice is I have a strike pattern, so a kind of generalized idea of where I'm hitting the ball on the face from a controlled environment. My strike pattern, as you would imagine, is relatively neutral towards the middle to slightly towards the toe, but you know, it's a decent strike pattern, and that's one of the main reasons why I can play to a half decent standard. But in the comments down below, how many are you working on something in your swing, so kind of different positions to achieve different shots, but at the same time working in strike and the variations of strike, which I'll show you with some tees in a second. So I'm going to do a swing now where it's got faults in it. It's kind of an incorrect action, if you like. But what's going to happen, so you can see I've got my fault of my shot shape. It's shorter, it went higher. So these are positions I might choose to work on and try and fix. But if you give me enough goes of these, I feel like I'm going to get a relatively consistent strike pattern flowing. So the last three here, you can see the different, that one, this one and this one. We're going slightly higher out the toe, but they're functional, and if you give me enough goes, I think my strike pattern would actually home in very much similar to my original strike pattern. So what I mean by that is you can have your swing faults, so you know, you have your quirky actions in your swing that you're trying to fix, that's fine. But if I can just wave a magic wand, give you something to practice that allows you to start striking the ball a little bit better from variations of different places, then surely you'll be a better player. But you're working on the, you know, trying to get to those perfect positions to make you a better player, where maybe you're forgetting to work on one of the key ingredients. So what I've done is I've teed the ball up immensely high, so on the pink tee, and I'm going to hit a golf shot, trying to find some level of strike, which I did. Anything on this dotted across the middle white line, you will not feel much difference between how far this is in the toe to the center, where if you go above and below it is where you'll start feeling the real differences. So that strike on that last one felt pretty good. So from the pink tee, I'm going to do my funky action as well. So obviously it feels harder from there because it's not how I move, but again, a decent shot. Strike got a little bit higher on the toe, which is something I would again work on trying to fix, and that's the point. Not working in the variations of strike into whatever you're already thinking about. So I'm not saying don't work on your swings, do, you know, improve your actions and make them as reliable as possible. But you've got to be working in the variations of strikes. Otherwise what I see, and I see it from students time and time again, we get them hitting a certain way in the studio, in front of the launch monitor, and they go out and of course they just can't translate it out there. In the comments down below, let me know how many times have you thought to yourself, why can I hit this well on the range, and as soon as I get to the course, it just falls apart. And think about the dynamicness of what is thrown at you on the course. It's so different. So if you're not practicing those skills, then maybe you're not really practicing very well at all. So I'm going to go to the orange tee next, the highest. I'm just hitting an 8-iron here. Now you can do this at the range, work it into 5 minutes of your practice. So if you're going to the range for an hour, half an hour and hitting X amount of balls, you should be maybe putting some variation practice in there from the different tee heights. When I give this conundrum to lesser skilled golfers, so let's say higher handicap golfers, when I give them that option, they look at me and go, well, why would I ever do that? Why am I doing that? They struggle to even make the connection, where I see this shot as just ball above my feet. I see it as ball set. I'm really like, you know, when we go abroad in Portugal and Spain, you get the grass where the ball sits on top. And I think, well, I'm not that good from those lies because I just don't really practice them enough. If I knew I was going to play in those conditions all the time, I'd be working like this over and over again. So from this tee height, again, trying to find my strike. And as you can see, they're all going very much into the same spot, aren't they? Even though I'm aggressively changing where that ball is in relationship to me. And again, from this tee height, from my funky action. So it's a slower action. These ones tend to come up a little shorter, but it's a decent strike and a decent shot. Now the launch monitor won't pick these shots up because it sees 3 balls, so it'll get confused. But even just teeing 3 balls up and being as quick as you can, trying to strike them into different places as I come down the height. So I'm trying to work into my strike again. This is quick because I'm trying. There we go, the launch monitor pick that one up. You can see it's a decent shot, and the last one here as it resets. Not taking much time between each, and just trying to dynamically find strike. This is a skill. This is a skill that lots of golfers don't possess. They are practicing a lot of time on this skill, and that's all fine. But those elements have to relate back to this element, otherwise you're going to struggle when you get on the golf course. So what can you do if you're not so good when you start putting it on those different tees? So first point obviously is you're probably not practicing from those different tees, so no wonder you're not very good. That's going to take a little bit of time. I do this with junior golfers so much to get them dynamic at the beginning so they don't become static, robotronic kind of adults, if you like, too early. Golf's a great game for making young people believe that they have to be adults really young, like in their etiquette and the way they behave. And it's the same in their teaching styles as well, keeping young people acting like young people, even getting older people to act more like younger people in lessons, again, is something that's really valuable. So what would I do? Ball above my feet here, I'm going to hover the club up, so I'm trying to marry the club somewhere near where the ball is. I see lots of people when I do this drill, and they put the club on the ground and try and hit it. That's a big adjustment. You wouldn't do that if the ball was above your feet, because obviously you wouldn't be able to get the club on the ground. It's only that it's on a tee here that allows you to do that. So I'm marrying my club more up to where it would be in relationship to the ball if the ball's on the ground. I'm trying not to have that as a variable. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to stand a little bit taller to get that club up there, so I come up a little bit in my posture. And then the big thing I'll do as I come to hit the ball is I know where that ball is, I can see it's above me, so I am going to make sure I keep that height through my legs, predominantly my lead leg. I'm going to feel like I really get up to that ball, even if I finish and feel like I'm a bit taller, to find that strike. Because it's the flip side, I can't do it in here so well. I'm going to use this to try and demonstrate. It's a heavy medicine ball with a bit of bounce. So if I add the instabilities of the ball below my feet, now I can feel the importance of trying to stay down on this one, trying to almost take this rear leg out of play, because as soon as I push, there's nothing in the ground there to resist anything going. So I'm going to really work off this lead leg to try and find my strike. And I want you to severely think about this last shot. It shows you everything of the point of today's lesson, which I think many golfers don't get right. Ask yourself, was that last swing technically correct? I started with all my pressure on my lead foot, tried not to touch the ground with my trail foot during the swing at all. As I swung the club, I thought about swinging the club towards a target, but I wasn't thinking about any of these positions. I was literally thinking about how this leg has got to dictate strike. So I don't even know what happened in my action. Didn't know how I turned my hips. I felt like I didn't really turn my hips at all. So to turn my hips, I feel like this is going to come less stable and I need that foot to help out. And I know that foot can't help out. This idea demonstrates the skill more than anything else, I think. And it's the skill that so many golfers don't think about. And I think it's a fault of golf coaching. So, but think about your lessons and think about how you're trying to improve. Are you actually practicing the skills you need to take it on the course? Or are you just practicing the skills that make you hit better shots on the range? Which serves its purpose as well, but for lots of people, it's the most common question I think I would say I've had, along with others, through my whole online golf coach career. Why can I not take what I do out on the range out onto the golf course, and this is one of the huge reasons why. So the ball on different tee heights, play with your posture, play with how high you stay up to, if you can get where the ball's below you, how low you feel that you stay down. And they're all feel-based words. They don't have to be factual. They're feel-based, related to what you feel. And then in your practice, the more you can add instability to your practice. I used to practice shots at the range. People always ask about my mat. Why is my mat raised? Why do you have a raised mat? I don't. This mat is level with the ground, but let's pretend this is a range mat, which is like a couple of inches off the ground. I used to hit some shots from the corners of the mat where the ball was above my feet, or I had 1 foot on and 1 foot off. To practice the variability of strike in situation, which you often can't do on a range. Get a part of your session working on variability. You can even do things like, I've got my nice drinks bottle here from Swing Catalyst, Ambassador, and add some of that variability. So now this is one of those shots where I can't really push into that lead foot. This is one of those shots where I'm going to have to be much more on my trail foot to try and find strike and still try and find target. As soon as I push on this lead foot, I'm going to hurt myself or fall over, those kind of things. Obviously be careful with these ideas. Again, that was my last strike, the red one. They're not really changing. And I don't mean this as in, oh, look at me, aren't I great at striking the ball? But it is a skill that I possess to a certain extent. And it's one that I see higher handicappers not possessing, not questioning how to get better at it, and certainly not practicing it. They're very busy practicing positions, trying not to slice it, which is still relevant, but you've got to do those things within the confines of whatever you're trying to work on. Just ask yourself, to carbon copy yourself. So whoever's watching this video now, you're here and you're just duplicated here to the other side of you. But that person can strike the ball better and they have all your quirky aspects of your swing. But what they do is they have a tighter strike pattern on the club. Less variations to strike. They're better at different lies. They're better when it's unstable, uphill, downhill, ball below feet, ball above feet, really windy, all those variations. You know for a fact that person is better than you, but they're a carbon copy and they've got all the same faults. These are some of the quickest, easiest gains that you get from golfers. The main reason being, when you do this with amateur golfers, they've never practiced it. And often with golfers, when you get something into their mind that they've never practiced before, which is so fundamental to playing the game, is for all intents and purposes, they're beginners at it. And in the comments down below, what do you think? When I teach a player who plays on a tour, or a +1 handicap or a 5 handicap, how big are their improvements? Like, we're moving the needle tiny amounts. We're working on their feelings. We're trying to squeeze little ounces out of them. When I get a beginner golfer, how big do you think their improvements are? I can show you case after case of taking a beginner golfer to a 13 handicap within 6-7 months to a year. You know, it's huge, massive gains, because what happens with lots of golfers is you go like this, like this, like this, and then we level. But think about it, there's a part of the game that you've probably never practiced. So in effect, you're a beginner at it. So again, the gains can be huge. Get practicing strikes. Next time you're at the range, don't just hit from that flat lie. Do that element of your practice, but practice from those different lies. Get some tees, get some water bottles under your feet. Practice hitting shots from different lies. When you get to the course, you're still going to get variability that throws you, but it won't throw you hopefully as much, because you'll have the skills to marry the face up with that ball and get out of that trouble. Let me know if this helps. As always, post comments down below. Hit that like button. Remember to subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you are subscribed, make sure you got that bell icon rung. Because then you won't miss any of my videos and you'll be kept up to date with all the great teaching content that's coming. Thanks for watching.